I'm Mary's fiancé and her childhood friend. We've known each other for as long as I can remember. But that day, I saw something that shook me. She was kissing another man. Not just anyone, but him. The so-called good brother. She always defended. I couldn't stand the guy. Every time she complained, she'd be hugging him like he was some kind of savior. He controls me every day, she once said. And that guy, he just laughed it off. Isn't it because you spoiled him? He joked. I told you to set some rules. If you don't, who's to blame? That moment hit me hard. Something cracked inside me. Maybe I wasn't as desperate to hold on to her as I thought. So, I did what I believe she wanted. I walked away. But just hours later, she turned around and insisted she wouldn't marry anyone but me. That same evening, she messaged me. Hey, can you drop off the wine at the bar? It's at my place. Had a cold, a fever. I was dizzy. Hadn't gotten out of bed all day. She knew that. She also knew the bar wasn't exactly a safe place, especially not that late. I still messaged her. Don't stay too long. Drink in moderation. It's not safe. Come back early. Not long after, she called. When I answered, I was hit by a wave of laughter and noise on the other end. Everyone quiet. Let's see how Mary tames her husband. Someone joked. Then Mary's voice. Have you eaten? I was caught off guard. I have, I said, voice raspy from the cold. My sisters are waiting. Why is it so hard for you to deliver something? She said, clearly annoyed. You've got the energy to eat but not to come here. I took cold medicine. I'm feeling dizzy. And that bar, it's chaotic. Just last week, a girl was taken by some thug. Please come home early, I pleaded. Then a man's voice cut in, one I knew too well. Forget it, Mary. Go get drinks for the ladies, he barked. It was Tom, her good brother. Don't worry, Mary, he added, laughing. Even if you lost your boyfriend, your brother won't let you go thirsty. The crowd roared in laughter again. A nauseous wave hit me. George, are you coming or not? She snapped. I sighed, stood up despite the fever, and dragged myself into a cab. When I reached the bar and pushed open the door, the first thing I saw was Mary kissing Tom in the middle of the room while everyone cheered. The moment she noticed me, the room fell dead silent. Tom glanced over, releasing her. Oh, someone's here. Mary looked dazed. Confused, trying to reach for him again. But Tom gently pushed her away. Someone's here, he repeated, not looking at me. She pouted, clearly drunk, then turned and frowned at me like I was the problem. Tom wiped his lips, smiled casually. Bro, don't get the wrong idea. We lost a game, and this is just punishment. He wasn't even wearing a shirt. Mary and her friends had talked about him before. Tall, handsome, well-built. I walked in, pushed through my headache, and set the drinks down on the table. Here, the drinks are delivered. I'm leaving. Hey, don't be mad, bro, Tom said, throwing an arm around my shoulder. Come on, have a drink. We're just playing around like siblings. I stared at him. Then, pointing at a girl nearby, I said, then kiss her, too. Tom's face turned pale. No, bro. But what do you take me for? One of the girls stood up. We're just having fun. What era are you living in? Don't restrict her with your old-fashioned views. Exactly. Just playing. Another one added. I looked around at the crowd. Do you know why I haven't caused a scene yet? Because I'm sick and don't want to waste my breath on garbage. But if you push me one more time, don't expect to leave this place smiling. The room went quiet. All eyes turned to Mary. She came over and grabbed my arm. Why are you like this today? I told you we're just playing. Why are you overreacting? You've ruined the mood. Tom walked up again. Sorry, man. If I knew you two would fight, I wouldn't have played along. Mary, you keep having fun. George, take a break. Then he said it. Hurry back with your brother. Mary's face changed. George, don't go too far. Just because I'm your girlfriend doesn't mean I'm not free. Don't use concern as an excuse to control me. I'll do what I want with who I want. I looked at her, feeling so tired. I could barely stand. I shook off her hand and turned to leave. George, stop, she shouted. I turned back to see her helping Tom off the ground after he fell. Apologize to Tom, she demanded, her face twisted with anger. I stared at her. The same face that used to show me worry, warmth, love. Now it only knew how to scold me for him. If you don't apologize, we're over, she said firmly. Everyone in the room stared at us like we were entertainment. All right, I said. Mary's brows furrowed. What? I said. All right, I repeated. Let's break up. I was so dizzy, I didn't even realize I'd lost my house key until I got into the cab. I returned to the bar, hoping it had fallen inside. Thankfully, the bartender had it. But just as he handed it over, the door to Mary's private room opened. I saw Tom supporting her drunken body, walking her to the restroom. Even if he's mad, he should still care for you, he muttered. Mary giggled, touching his cheek. Why can't he be as good as you? Tom sighed. Honestly, he's kind of ungrateful. You treat him so well. Most guys would be jealous of him. Mary hesitated. Maybe you're right. Maybe he's just after my money. I felt like the ground shifted under me. They entered the restroom and the door locked behind them. I turned away and walked out. Fever, nausea, heartbreak. I couldn't tell what was worse. That night, I burned up. Fever dreams dragged me back to the past. We grew up together in the orphanage. I was always sick. And Mary was my light, my little moon. She'd run barefoot to find a doctor, hold my hand, and whisper, "Don't worry, George. I'll stay with you forever." When the orphanage caught fire, she was pulled to safety, but ran back into the flames to save me. She got burned on her shoulder. That scar, I always saw it as proof of a love deeper than life itself. She had no one. I had no one. We were each other's world. At 16, Mary's birth parents came for her. She was the long-lost daughter of the wealthy JIS family. Suddenly, she was rich. But she never forgot me. She'd sneak out to visit me at school. We promised to get into the same university and we did. We became the envy of the campus, the perfect couple. Then Tom came into our lives. He was popular, a fitness influencer, charming. But I knew what the people around Mary wanted. I'd seen enough of life to recognize opportunists. I warned her, but she just laughed it off. Maybe she liked being the center of attention. Eventually, she took me to meet her parents. She even knelt, begging them to accept me. Her father was gentle with her, but cold and dismissive toward me. To them, I was just an orphan, not worthy of their daughter. When they disapproved, Mary stood in the rain all night until she got sick. Her fever hit 40 degrees. I was so moved, I vowed to win her family's approval. But inside the JIS mansion, I never felt like a person. I was an object under constant scrutiny, and now it's all unraveling. I never told Mary about the way her family looked down on me. I didn't want to make things harder than they already were, especially after I graduated college when things were finally starting to look up. I got a great job offer, one with a bright future. My boss appreciated my work ethic, and I saw real growth ahead if I kept pushing. But the JIS family didn't care about that. They insisted I join the family business instead. That's when Mary and I had one of our biggest fights. She looked at me, eyes brimming with frustration and disappointment. "George, you're so willful. I don't get it. You're going to marry into the JIS family. Why won't you come help me? Why are you always so selfish?" Tears streamed down her face as she continued. "Back then I risked my life to save you and you can't even compromise a little for me. So I gave in. I joined Jez not because I wanted to but because I loved her. I endured her father's deliberate humiliation, his constant criticism, his impossible expectations. Every word I spoke, every move I made had to be calculated so I wouldn't give anyone a reason to look down on me more than they already did. Even when my performance exceeded expectations, I was never promoted. Young man, don't take titles and money too seriously. Her father said, what I'm giving you is valuable training. You're my future son-in-law. I'm hard on you because I want to help you grow. Promoting you would just cause gossip. Focus on taking care of my daughter. So, I swallowed it all for her because she once saved my life because for a long time she was my light in this world. I'd look at the scar on her shoulder, the one she got from saving me, and remind myself to forgive her. No matter how intense our fights got, I'd always find a reason to stay. I didn't ask for much, just that we could stay together, keep going, and build a life. But today, everything shattered. I finally understood how little she thought of me. She didn't believe I stayed out of love. She thought I clung to her for money. She'd been testing me over and over. And last night's wine delivery, just another test. The final straw. In my dreams, I still saw the sunny girl from my memories. The one who once called out to me, full of warmth and hope. George, wait for me. Let's go together. But I don't want to walk with her anymore. I took one slow step after another into the setting sun, leaving that memory behind. When I looked back, the girl in my heart had vanished, washed away like rain, leaving no trace behind. The next morning, my fever had broken. But my heart still ached. I started packing my things. Then I heard Tom's voice from outside the bedroom door. Mary, don't forget we're watching Slam Dunk this afternoon. Remember you promised you'd wear the cheerleader outfit. Mary's voice came soft and shy. I remember. I froze. Today was the day we were supposed to meet my biological parents. A week ago, someone from the orphanage reached out. They thought they found them and asked for a DNA sample. The results were coming out today. I had been nervous, scared even. But Mary promised to be there for me. And now she'd forgotten just like that. For a cartoon and Tom. The bedroom door creaked open. Mary saw me packing and frowned. What are you doing? I don't have time to go with you right now. I don't need you to. I replied quietly. We broke up last night. I'm moving out today. She looked stunned for a second, then laughed, mocking me. George, everyone says I spoiled you. I didn't believe it, but look at you now. Always threatening to break up. You really think I can't live without you? She crouched down and yanked my hand away from the suitcase. Wasn't last night enough drama? You used delivering wine as an excuse to humiliate me in front of everyone. You made Tom uncomfortable on purpose. Are you still not satisfied? My hands clenched. I looked up and met her eyes. Mary, I told you I wasn't feeling well. You still insisted I deliver that wine. You kissed Tom first. He came to talk to me first. And I didn't hit him. I showed restraint. And it was you who suggested breaking up. I shook off her hand and zipped up my suitcase. I never assumed you needed me. And I'm not dependent on you either. She snapped. Am I in debt to you or something? Haven't I been good to you? I risked my life for you back then. Last night. I just wanted to see how sincere you are. That's all. She grabbed my arm again. My friends say you're just using me for money, that I'm a fool. Couldn't you prove them wrong? What have you done for me? What have you given up? I stayed silent. Her eyes burned with rage. I really fell for the wrong person. You want to break up? Fine. Walk out that door. Just remember, being the JIS family's son-in-law isn't a title anyone can claim. I looked at her. Really looked. Her eyes were dull, rimmed red from the hangover. Once through those eyes, I saw love, partnership, a future. Now, just emptiness. You win, Mary, I said softly. What? She blinked. You succeeded. You made me stop loving you. I left. I had no new place to stay, no job, and nowhere to go. I spent the day at a corner KFC with my suitcase waiting for the DNA test results that would reveal the truth about my past. Mary once said any parents who abandoned their child couldn't be good people. That if they came looking for me now, it was probably just to use the JIS family name. Now that I'd left Mary, I wondered if they'd still want me at all. What is family really? I'd been told Mary was my family, that her family was mine, but all I ever felt with them was pain and exhaustion. The sunset outside was warm and golden. I watched the clouds stretch across the sky and finally stood up, suitcase in hand. As I was about to cross the street to reach the restaurant where I'd meet them, a scooter came speeding out of nowhere. A girl standing ahead didn't see it. Without thinking, I grabbed her, pulling her away just in time. The scooter barely missed us. You okay? I asked. She smiled a little breathless. I'm fine, thank you. You have to be careful around here. I gave a small smile back, but then she looked at me closer. Wait, are you George? Yeah, that's me. I'm Nicole. My sister's married to your cousin. You really look like Uncle Venus. We don't even need a DNA test. She said with a warm laugh. Let's go. They're all waiting. We walked together to the restaurant. At the door, a group of people stood anxiously. Then a beautiful woman ran toward me and wrapped her arms around me, sobbing. My baby. It's really you, George. Behind her, a tall man's eyes filled with tears. Yes, he said. Our son. He's come back. I looked at their faces so much like mine, and for the first time in a long while, I felt something warm rising in my chest, something I couldn't name. Nicole gently guided me inside, and the director of the orphanage began to explain. Back then, my mother, Jessica, had fallen seriously ill after giving birth. Their nanny, Madison, had developed feelings for my father, Venus. When he rejected her, she became enraged. One night, she disappeared with me. They searched everywhere. But 6 months later, police found her body in the sea along with a suicide note and some of my baby clothes. The note said that if she couldn't have Venus, she'd make sure he'd never forget her by taking his child, too. But Madison hadn't drowned me. Maybe some part of her still had compassion, or maybe cruelty disguised as kindness. She left me at an orphanage in another county, calling herself an unwed mother and giving me the name George. Orphanage later caught fire. And now, after all these years, I had finally come home. And just like that, we kids were all sent to a welfare home in Hing. Because my background had been documented, my birth mother listed as Madison, no one ever imagined that I might actually be the lost little master of the Venus family. Everyone had believed that child died shortly after birth. For so many years, I lived in the same city as my biological parents, never knowing, never seeing each other, not once until recently. It happened during a charity event hosted by the Starlight Group. Nicole, the daughter of the group, had been chatting casually with the director of the welfare home I used to stay at. They ended up talking about the Great Fire from years ago. The director, half nostalgic, half curious, pulled out an old photo of the children from that time, and Nicole noticed something unusual. She said, I looked strikingly like a younger version of Mr. Venus. Her suspicions sparked something big. She brought it up to the Venus family. But after so many years and after encountering too many con artists who faked identities and even bribed hospitals to forge DNA reports just to get a piece of the Venus fortune, they were skeptical, wary. They wanted to believe, but they'd been burned too many times. So when they first heard about me, they held back. They didn't dare get their hopes up too soon. Eventually though, after some careful investigation, the truth came to light. That evening, I returned home with my parents. My uncle and cousin's family were there, too. The house felt warm, crowded, like something I'd never had growing up. My dad sat me down and asked, George? The director mentioned you were dating someone. Jay's daughter. Is that true? I froze for a second. My mom quickly jumped in. We're not judging, sweetheart. Her family background isn't quite like ours, but if you truly like her, we'll support you. I shook my head. We already broke up. Dad didn't press. He just asked gently. So, what do you want to do next? Are you interested in learning how to run the company? That question sparked something in me. Of course, I wanted that. Becoming an entrepreneur had always been a dream of mine. But one I had to bury while I was with the JIS family. They never gave me real responsibilities. To them, I was just supposed to be a quiet, obedient son-in-law. But now, I had the chance to chase my dream for real. A few days later, my cousin Anthony and Nicole came to see me. Anthony told me my dad's health had been deteriorating. Years of stress and the emotional toll of searching for me had aged him. Though he was younger than my uncle, he looked years older. The Venus Group has 2 major segments, one managed by me and the other by your second uncle, Anthony explained. Eventually, that part will be handed to you. But for now, would you be willing to start getting involved? I nodded. Yes, I'm ready. Nicole, who had been quiet until then, chimed in with a playful smile. I've got some free time. I'll come help, too. So, we both started working at the Venus Group. I kept my identity low-key at first, working as an executive assistant. Nicole came on board as my partner. At first glance, she might seem like your typical carefree rich girl, but that couldn't be further from the truth. She was sharp, intuitive, and surprisingly grounded. We negotiated deals together, met clients, and ran strategy sessions. Nicole had this way of saying things casually, even jokingly, but always managing to hit the target. She understood people. Under her relaxed exterior was someone with a razor-sharp mind. After work, we'd often sit together, going over the day's challenges, simulating negotiations, thinking through possible outcomes. Her insights helped me grow fast. And when I was tired, she'd nudge me to take breaks. Don't push yourself too hard, she'd say with a wink. A wise philosopher once said, rest is for going further. I laughed. Who said that? She grinned. No idea. But it sounds smart, doesn't it? Being around Nicole felt natural. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders. A month passed quickly. One afternoon, I headed to the Starlight Mall to pick out a birthday gift for Nicole. Her birthday was coming up, and though she had everything money could buy, this mall was even owned by her family, I still wanted to get her something meaningful. After browsing for a while, I picked out a simple red blessing knot. Something symbolic, a thank you for her support and maybe more. As I passed one of the luxury counters, I suddenly heard a familiar voice. You're buying this for Annie. She'll love it. It was Tom. He and Mary were standing at a perfume counter. Mary looked tired, but when her eyes met mine, they lit up. George, she said, almost surprised. Tom glanced at me, then at the box in my hand, and walked over, grinning. Bro, you're buying a birthday gift, too? This one's too plain. Come on. I'll show you how to really impress a girl like Annie. Mary's smile faded, replaced by a frown. Where have you been this past month? She snapped. You think showing up with a little trinket makes up for everything? Her eyes dropped to my badge. It was a temporary one with no name, just executive office. Tom burst into laughter. Wait, bro, did you become a receptionist at Venus Group? Mary's expression tightened. Why are you working there trying to embarrass me? I don't owe you an explanation, I said calmly. We're not together anymore. Tom tried to laugh it off. Don't be like that. You can't just ignore Mary because you're mad. Mary suddenly grabbed my wrist. Stop messing around, George. Come back. Mom's furious. I've already sent in my resignation, I said. I don't belong there anymore. You really think you'll get away with this? She snapped. That little red string won't earn you forgiveness. My parents will never accept you back. I pulled my hand away. It's not for them, and it's not for you. Just then, a familiar voice called out. George. Nicole had walked over, her assistant trailing behind her. Mary stiffened at the sight of her. You're Miss Nicole from Starlight Group. Nicole gave her a polite nod. And you are? Mary from JIS Group. My parents reached out about a possible collaboration. Our bidding cycle already ended, Nicole replied, her tone cordial but cool. You can try again next year. Mary panicked. But my parents know you enjoy traveling. They wanted to invite you. Nicole cut her off. My personal hobbies don't influence business decisions. Tom suddenly stepped in, smirking. Miss Nicole, Mary's boyfriend, George, works at your family's company. They've let him be a receptionist at Venus Group just to impress you. Nicole looked at me. I met her eyes calm and steady. He's my ex-boyfriend, I said. We're not together. Mary's smile twitched. George is just joking. He actually came today to buy a gift for my mother. We're still close. We genuinely want to befriend you. Nicole smiled thinly. Since you're already familiar with George, let me properly introduce you. He's the assistant to the president of Venus Group. Mary blinked. What? He's very busy, so be sure to make an appointment in advance, Nicole added. A few days later, Mary booked a meeting with me. She sat across from me, stiff, forced. I kept it strictly professional, detached. I walked her through the proposal materials, but she suddenly interrupted. How did you become the president's assistant? She demanded. We're here to talk business, I replied. Did you sell yourself? She hissed. You graduated and did nothing but odd jobs at JS. Do you know how hard it is to even get an internship at Venus? Her voice cracked. Her eyes red. I worked so hard to protect you. I loved you all these years, and now you're just warming another woman's bed. I frowned. Let go. But she clung tighter. You're mine, George. You've always been mine. Don't think I don't see it. Nicole likes you, doesn't she? That's why she brought you into Venus. She was trembling. Why her, George? Has she ever saved you like I did? She's just richer than me. Is that all it takes? I looked at her, but all I felt now was emptiness. No, Mary, I said quietly. That's not what this is. Not anymore. George, Mary, wake up, I said in a low, firm voice. You keep thinking you're irreplaceable, that I'll always come back. But one day, someone will stop choosing you, and that day is today. She grabbed my hand. Her eyes were red. I love you, George. Why can't you see that? I gently shook her off. We've already broken up, Mary. It was just a fight, she insisted, desperate. I shook my head. No, you just can't accept it because I've always come back before. But this time is different. I've changed. I'm not the same George who used to beg for your attention. I handed her the documents. These are the JS Group's internal reports. They won't meet Venus Group's requirements and neither will we. There's no going back. Not in love. Not in business. She left and I stayed alone in that conference room for a long while. Saying those words, "there's no going back," hurt more than I thought they would. For years, she was the woman I adored. And now we'd reached this point. My phone buzzed. Mary, I know I messed up that night. I drank too much and stupidly asked you to bring me wine. I didn't know you were sick until I saw the fever meds by your bed. George, I don't care about Nicole. Just come back. You're still mine. If you ignore me, I'll keep finding you until you change your mind. You can't just throw away everything we've been through. She sent a photo of the scar on her shoulder, the one I remembered from that night years ago. I felt something twist in my chest. Not love, just exhaustion. Like a damp, heavy weight pressed over my heart. I blocked her number. As the sun began to set, city lights lit up the floor-to-ceiling windows around me. A soft voice interrupted my thoughts. So, you're here? I turned. Nicole stood at the door, her expression gentle. She walked over and sat next to me. I heard you ran into Mary today. Didn't go well, did it? I nodded. I tried to treat it like a business meeting, but emotions still got in the way. Nicole smiled slightly. You did fine. My mom used to say, when you're in charge, everyone will try to sway your decisions with emotions. The key is learning how to stay grounded. I know. It's just been a rough day. She rested her head on the table. Same here. Want to get some air? Next thing I knew, Nicole had found 2 bicycles. We rode through the summer streets, stopping to eat at every food stall she spotted. Stinky tofu, fried cakes, grilled chicken skewers. She fed me like I was some stray animal she'd adopted. Watching her cheerful and carefree, I couldn't help but ask, you always seemed so lighthearted. Don't you have any worries? Oh, I do, she said, brushing hair from her face. My sister's super successful. For a long time, I thought I had to be just like her to be worth anything. But then I realized, I don't need anyone's approval. I just need to be me. Smiled. That's pretty wise, Nicole grinned. I knew you'd get it. Her eyes drifted toward a nearby basketball court. Hey, George, can you play basketball? I used to pretty well, actually. I chuckled. Back in college, girls used to crowd around the court just to watch. Mary hated that. After a few arguments, I quit playing. It was just the 2 of us now on that quiet court. Nicole, who had never touched a basketball in her life, tried mimicking me. I corrected her stance, guided her movements. Why do you like playing? She asked. It felt free. I loved the competition, the chaos. It helped me forget everything else. I felt alive out there. To my surprise, she raised the ball and clang. It actually went in. She jumped in excitement like she just won a gold medal. Seeing her like that, it made me feel like myself again. Want to watch Slam Dunk? I asked. Later, we drove out to a small drive-in theater that happened to be showing it. Nicole was glued to the screen. I didn't expect basketball to be this fun, she said afterward. When I was younger, I loved Sakuragi Hanamichi. He was wild but full of heart. Most people wanted to be like him. But lately, I relate more to Miyagi. Ordinary guy, working hard every day, always underestimated, still fights like hell. Nicole looked at me like I just dropped the meaning of life. You sound like a philosopher, she teased. I laughed. You're way too easy to impress. Careful or some guy is going to charm you with fortune cookie quotes. I wouldn't fall for that, she said, voice suddenly softer. I only believe in people I like. About a week later, I started managing more of the family business. I was at the golf club one morning when my assistant Xiao Xiao approached. Someone's asking to see you, says it's important. Brought a gift, too. I frowned. Who is it? It's Mary's father. Sure enough, outside there he was holding a box. The moment he saw me, his face twisted in disgust. "George, you're here. Tom said you were a lackey at Venus Group." I didn't believe it, but here you are embarrassing yourself. "I told Mary you were no good." He sneered and pulled out his phone. "Let me take a photo. Let the world see this. You think just anyone can enter this club?" I didn't flinch. I poured myself tea and sat calmly at the table. "Exactly. Not just anyone can join, which is probably why you submitted 10 failed applications." He froze. Just then, Shirao came over with a folder. "President, I brought Mr. JS's application materials." Mary's father's face fell. President Shia Shah smiled innocently. "Yes, our little president is very busy today, but he made time to meet you." He turned to me, panic flooding his face. "George, this is a misunderstanding. We're family." I stood, pulling my arm from his grip. "You said a moment ago you'd never accept me into your family." Funny how fast that changed. Behind him, another cold voice cut through the air. "My son has no need for another father." I turned. My father was there, his presence powerful and commanding. "So, you're the one who had my son serving tea and carrying water at your business?" "All those years," he said coolly. "Now you want to treat him like a VIP?" Mary's father stammered. "Misunderstanding. I've always seen George as a son. My son, my father said, doesn't need your kind of family. If you want to serve tea here every day, maybe we'll let you join the lowest level membership." That was the end of it. He fled with his gift like a dog with its tail tucked. Check. If any of his friends are members, Dad told Shao. Cancel them all. He turned to me and laid a hand on my shoulder. "George, I'm sorry. I should have found you sooner." I shook my head and hugged him. "You did. That's what matters." Because in that moment, I realized I already had the most valuable thing in the world. Family that stood by me no matter what. The rest just noise. One of the male employees had been acting unusually ever since he laid eyes on the second young lady. His gaze was glued to her every move. And it wasn't just that. He suddenly started wearing tight clothes, running errands that didn't need to be run, always appearing conveniently with coffee. It was obvious he was trying to impress her, and it seemed like she didn't mind. He clicked his tongue in annoyance. This second young lady, always falling into the same old patterns. Just then, the door to the president's office opened. The assistant signaled for me to be quiet and subtly nodded in that direction. Nicole stepped out first, followed by Tom, wearing his signature tight outfit. When Nicole saw me, she smiled warmly. "George, you're here. Come join me and the client for lunch." I nodded. Tom quickly moved up to stand beside her like a loyal puppy. The walk to the restaurant was silent, except for the swishing noise of Tom's outfit as he strutted beside her. At the private dining room, Tom made sure to sit next to Nicole. His eyes practically sparkling. "Miss Nicole," he grinned. "Can we order some king crab later?" Nicole laughed softly. "Let's wait for the guest to arrive before ordering the big dishes." Just then, the door opened. Tom and I both froze. It was Mary. Tom's face palled. "Mary, what are you doing here?" "I could ask you the same thing," she replied sharply. Before things could escalate, Nicole calmly interjected. "Let's eat first." Suddenly, the large TV screen in the room flickered to life. A security video played. Nicole's office. On screen, Tom was eagerly placing coffee in front of her, saying, "Aren't you Miss Mary's friend?" "Actually, I'm not that close to her. She's been pursuing me, but I haven't agreed. I mean, George and she are together. I'd never be the third wheel. Honestly, I'm not impressed with Mary. That time at the mall when she clung to you, I found it really embarrassing." He leaned in on the recording, voice low and greasy. "Miss Nicole, if you're interested in the JIS Group's core tech, didn't they just patent something confidential? I can help you with that." The video cut off. Nicole gently pushed a sealed envelope across the table. "I haven't opened this," she said calmly. "I don't even know if it's legit, but honestly, if Starlight Group wanted that tech, we'd already have it. We're just not interested." She touched the red string bracelet I had once given her. "If Mr. Tom was planted here by Miss Mary, I admire her boldness, but it just proves she doesn't know me. I'm not the type to fall for someone like this. And if he wasn't sent by her, then I still admire her courage to hand over something this important so casually. I'm not capable of that level of recklessness." Mary's hands trembled as she gripped the envelope. After a long pause, she finally whispered, "I didn't send him to Starlight." Nicole nodded, a faint smile on her lips. "Then I'll consider today's return of the envelope as repaying a favor. No need to thank me." Then she added quietly, "But as the daughter of the JIS president, you really should know better." Recording Tom's voice. Despicable. Nicole chuckled. "You really think I need your permission to record in my office? You came here to talk without even knowing what kind of person I am or what tools I keep. My mom taught me never to drink from strangers and never to let my guard down." She turned to Mary, her voice turning cold. "I've said what I needed to say. How you and your brother handle this is none of my business, but take my advice. Eat well and be careful who you call a friend." Tom's face stiffened. He turned to Mary, but she looked stunned. Nicole took my hand and pulled me to leave. Then Tom exploded. "Miss Nicole, you're the one being fooled. George is a manipulative leech. He used Mary for money and now he's using you. You're blind. You're being tricked." Nicole stopped and slowly turned around. "Is that so?" she said, almost amused. "Well, if it's him, then I really don't mind." Tom looked like he'd been punched in the gut. Just then, Mary's phone rang. "Mom, can it wait?" She answered, but her voice grew quiet. "What? What did you say?" She looked up at me, completely stunned. "My mom said, you're the young master of the Venus Group, but you're not. Madison isn't." Her voice trembled and the phone slipped from her fingers. Tom's eyes went wide. "Wait, you're that George, the heir to the Venus Group?" I walked out without answering. Behind me, I could still hear Mary sobbing and the sound of a cup being thrown. I frowned and turned to the restaurant manager. "Check the damage, have them pay full compensation." That evening, the Venus family hosted a formal dinner, my official introduction to the business world. Everything was going smoothly until chaos broke out near the entrance. Mary's parents had arrived. Her father pushed past the reporters, dropping to his knees in front of me. "Please, George. Mary tried to take her life. You can't just abandon her now. She's loved you for years. You owe her your life." Her mother was screaming behind him, wailing as reporters swarmed us. In the lounge, I sat with my family and Nicole. My dad spoke first. "Don't worry, George. We've already talked to the media. There won't be any photos released, but not brother added. You've done enough today. Get some rest." But I shook my head and looked at them. "Dad Anthony, if I'm going to lead the Venus Group, I need to handle this myself. This is my responsibility. I'll end it." At the hospital, Mary lay pale and quiet on the bed. When she saw me, she immediately burst into tears, grabbing my wrist. "I knew you'd come. I knew you wouldn't abandon me, Mary," I said, voice low. "Do you really mean it when you say you can't live without me? Or is it just because of the Venus family's wealth?" She looked up startled. "What, George? How can you think that? My feelings have nothing to do with money." "So, you do know there's a difference?" I said softly. She blinked, confused. "What?" I gently pried her fingers from my wrist. "I'm here to tell you that we're truly over." Her eyes filled with disbelief. "Real love doesn't need tests. It doesn't demand proof or equal trade. It's built on trust, on sacrifice. You doubted me, kept seeing Tom despite everything, and blamed me every time things fell apart. That's not love, Mary. That's control. That's fear. And we ended a long time ago." Mary's mother stared at them in shock. No, my daughter wouldn't." "We found the firefighters," my uncle said. "We can bring them in to talk if you'd like." My father stepped forward, voice heavy with disappointment. "My son didn't want us to come. But I had to say something. The Venus family believes in kindness, in gratitude. George does, too. But that doesn't give you the right to trap him in guilt. If the JIS family wants to discuss this further, we're ready. We'll lay out every manipulation you used over the years." Nicole stood beside me, calm and steady. She looked Mary in the eye. "You were always afraid of the truth. Afraid that even if you broke his wings, you still couldn't keep him because deep down you knew you were never enough to hold on to him." Mary didn't speak. She just cried. And in that silence, I turned and walked away. For good. But he was never someone you could cage. How can a soaring eagle ever be locked away in a cage? I looked at Mary for a long moment before stepping forward. "Mary," I said softly. "Stop risking your life like this. This will be the last time I come to see you. Next time, whether you live or die, it will have nothing to do with me." I turned and walked away. Behind me, her mother collapsed to the floor in a daze, whispering, "How did it come to this?" Mary sat by the bedside, still as a statue, staring into nothing. After that, I instructed the company's public relations team to contain the rumors and gossip swirling around my name and Mary's. We released an official statement to clarify things, but even so, the JIS family kept trying to reach out, calling, sending messages, even trying to get through to the Venus family. We ignored them. I threw myself into work, learning everything I could about managing the Venus group. At first, it was like trying to break through solid ice, but eventually I found the ocean beneath. The more I worked, the more clearly I saw the possibilities ahead. Slowly but surely, I started to earn respect. Not just because of my family name, but because of what I could actually do. Bit by bit, I began to stand on my own. To truly become a leader, the kind of man who could carry a legacy with his own strength. One evening, Nicole asked me to meet her at the basketball court. She was shooting hoops, and to my surprise, she could now make three-pointers. We sat resting by the sidelines afterward, the sky painted with twilight colors. My heart beat faster. I pulled out a bouquet of vivid red flowers I'd been hiding behind my back. "I've been wanting to tell you something," I began, nervous, but determined. "We really look like a family, don't we?" I scratched my head and laughed at how awkward I sounded. I know that's such a cheesy line, but honestly, I thought about this for days before working up the courage to say it. Nicole blinked in surprise, her eyes wide and soft. I held the bouquet out to her. Back then, I was so lost. I didn't believe in myself anymore. But being around you, it felt like basketball. You don't know if you'll score until you take the shot. A good partner, I continued, doesn't hold you back. She doesn't put you in a cage. She runs with you. Stands beside you. So, will you run with me? Nicole stared at me, stunned. Then, suddenly, she jumped up and wrapped her arms around my neck. Actually, she whispered near my ear. "I think so, too. We really do look like a family." That night, fireworks lit up the basketball court. Nicole leaned on my shoulder as the sky bloomed with color, her smile quietly glowing in the flickering light. Soon after, Anthony and Emily arrived, bringing more fireworks to keep the celebration going. As we were preparing for the next round, Anthony nudged me. "So, what are you planning to do about the JIS family?" I sighed. I wasn't planning on doing anything. But if I don't teach them a lesson now, they'll keep coming back. Nicole raised her brow. "Then how about letting us handle it?" She grabbed Emily's hand and pulled her to her side dramatically. "We'll put on a real show." With a twinkle in her eye, she added, "The wind is shifting tonight." Then both she and Emily pointed toward the sky, their voices in sync. "Let Jay go bankrupt." Anthony and I laughed so hard we nearly dropped the fireworks. He leaned over and whispered, "Emily's been reading a ton of those male-centric CEO revenge novels lately. She and Nicole even share notes now. Honestly, they're really getting into character." We exchanged a grin. A female CEO who reads revenge novels and plots business takedowns. I said, "Kind of cute." A few days later, JS Group's financial scandal exploded across social media. Turns out their problems ran much deeper than we thought. Fake products, forged patents, shady supply chains. The bank froze their funding and no one was willing to lend to them anymore. As Nicole said, "We didn't bring their downfall. We just pulled back the curtain." Their sins took care of the rest. Occasionally, I still heard things about Mary and Tom through college friends. After the JIS collapse, everyone distanced themselves from Mary, worried she'd come asking for help or money. Her so-called best friends vanished overnight. And Tom, his downfall was even worse. I accused him of stealing trade secrets. At the same time, several boyfriends exposed screenshots of his flirty DMs with their girlfriends. One guy even went so far as to hire someone to beat Tom up. Tom was left with lasting injuries, and now he's tangled in a lawsuit. But honestly, none of it has anything to do with me anymore. I've taken over the Venus Group fully, completely, and I'm preparing to marry Nicole, the woman who stood by me when I was at my lowest and helped me find my wings again. That evening, as I walked out of the office, the sky was painted in soft shades of gold and orange. The sun was setting beautifully, and I thought to myself, today was a good day. Tomorrow will be too. And the future feels bright.